2025 and I have to go hack my freaking Google and my Siri and put my AI in it, calling an LLM instead of them doing it. Like, why the does my Google not have any of the AI in it? Why is it still so stupid that it can't even use its own services when we have MCPs coming out everywhere? And Siri can't even, like, it has to go use somebody else's AI. Like, come on.
Send prompts, not nudes. I just want to AI some shit.
Does ChatGPT ban you for talking to your AI?
For talking
I'm just wondering. Like, you want to find out if they're monitoring and like watching your shit? Like,
this is the scientific process, guys. This is how.
If I don't see a headline in a YouTube short that says Randy sends dick pic to ChatGPT to find out if they're spying, I will not have lived a normal life.
Man,
Randy's like,
where did that come from? No. People have had various exposure experience, right? And that's like, this future is not evenly distributed, right? Like, I mean, I've seen it just like, having conversations in bars in New York City versus in San Francisco. The way people talk about AI and the economy and the future, right? It's just, they're on a completely different plane of existence. Maybe too far, maybe not. Probably closer to how we talk than how most people in my geographic proximity talk. But the point being is that, like, the capability, when you really truly understand what it could do and you start to extrapolate how fast it's changing and how much is possible, that's when you have the oh shit. But if all you do is, like, chat with a chatbot and make a funny joke or something and don't pay for anything or don't engage with it, I think the majority of people right now are still at that stage of their exploration of AI.
There's a psychological term for it, and I completely forgot it, or it's a bias. It's a bias. Where, like, you think that things that you have association with or you work on or have a much higher propensity in reality than you do, and people who don't have a much lower. It's like, it's actually somewhere in the middle, but like both tend to see things in polar opposite sides. It's like if you drive a Jeep, you see more Jeeps on the road. Did more Jeeps exist on the road before you drove a Jeep? No, you just drive a Jeep. And when you see a Jeep, it's like, it's the whole psychological aspect of driving a Jeep. Also, the whole Jeep wave thing doesn't help. But I think that the interesting aspect of where we're at is, like, hardware is now, like, hardware privacy and localization is becoming more and more of a topic. Not like it wasn't a topic, but it's like very much becoming a prime source of, like, we have to do something. Even NVIDIA is jumping into that mix, which I absolutely love, because they're probably the group that can do the most to actually bring localization to bear. And they're did you guys see their whole thing on, like, the NVFP4s?
No,
you don't track your news by, like, a bunch of random numbers and acronym or like letters. Come on,
not
guys.
typically.
Oh, step it up. So supposedly that I know, right? I don't even, I have to literally look at it to say it right, or I will dyslexia the hell out of it. It's 4-bit floating point is what it stands for on Blackwell tensor cores. And essentially it allows them to take 4 times throughput for FP8 and FP16 and microscaling, so like localization. So they built a version of this, and it's about $259, and you can localize I believe 8 billion parameter model for $250. Which excites me because of our new model. Like, I would love to put that local. That would be awesome. But it's kind of cool because it uses like 1/8 of the power and still maintains all the speed and all the processing.
Oh, by the way, it's the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon is what you were thinking of.
Bader-Meinhof phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really the name of it?
Yep, the frequency illusion.
Okay. It looks very, like, usable from a accessibility standpoint. I mean, at least like $250 is not that bad to localize a model and to, like, have AI that you can use, like, nonstop in your home. Like I would
Mhm.
totally buy one. When is the big promised one coming out? The really nice one that you can put like big models on. Like, where's that?
Oh, the Digits project.
Yeah.
I think they were shooting for I thought they were shooting for the end of May. But I'm not sure. Let's look it up right now and see.
Reserve now. They have a reserve now up. That's new. Reserve now. 128 gigs of coherent unified memory. What?
Yeah, $3,000. And you can stack them. So if you pay $6,000, you can get double that. And you can tether them. Which, I mean, if you can localize models, I mean, we were just talking about that VC money running out. It's very possible that cheap subscriptions today might skyrocket. Because if they're
well, say that again. Like, what do you mean by that?
Well, if it's the VC funding that's keeping the costs down and they're already bleeding money even with the funding, then what happens when that runs out, or does it ever run out? Or
yeah, so it's
you know
a
what I mean?
twofold problem right now. We have the layoff sort of side of things that is starting to hit the like actually be a thing. Like people are actually making big gains in certain industries, mainly tech. Like Microsoft is probably the best prime example where it's like year over year, massive profitability. We need less people so we can make more money because people cost money. But like they're still profitable. It's not like they're losing. They just realize that we don't need as many people. And the areas that they're firing people in are fascinating to me. Like that's the area that I like to watch. But you're seeing it, I mean, across different types of industries, not just tech. And you're also seeing it in areas that traditionally I expected not to, I guess, not to be the first impact. Like it's fascinating, but like I hate to say it, but coders are one of those that I'm watching, and it cracks me up because it makes perfect sense. Like I could hire one coder, fire 5 coders, and then if that coder is really really good, pay him 2 to 3 times what a coder costs and still like end up positive, right? And get the same performance in some cases, sometimes higher, especially in like areas where highly regulated code. And some of these guys are just cranking code out like crazy. So as long as it's good code and it makes it through like red teaming and purple teaming, then at the end of the day, does it really matter? And I think that the sort of dev cycle in that area in particular is going to change where you may spend more money on your red teamers and your purple teamers and let code move at like incredible pace and let people mess it up and give feedback and push it back and let that dev cycle just move faster through like failure iterations and vulnerability so that you can move and iterate quicker. I mean, I think we've seen it on our side. Sometimes it's better to get a feature in, even if the feature isn't perfect, and start from that point of like, it's okay, it works enough. And then within a week, have a really good feature. But getting that first like stake in the ground of having a UI or having a place to interact is like the hardest part. And then once you've done that, getting the agent like stuff to work or getting more complex iterations on it is sort of like easier. It just takes time and sort of like that new thing is the hard part. But the area I think that we're going to see the especially localization influence the most is definitely developers also, because like that, we like until recently I was spending like $200 a day on API calls alone by myself.
Yep.
And that hurts right in the soul hole. But like Claude Code is a great example. I thought that Claude Code, I was going to max them out like really fast because pretty much every time somebody opens up a new model and they say it's capped at a certain amount of uses, I kick the out of it and realize what my cap is very quickly. And I've been coding the hell out of Claude Code and have yet to get capped, which is awesome because that is a lot of money I'm not using every day. I have no clue how they're paying for that. There's no way that like they're making money off of it. Because I know, like, even if we say that like their API costs are 50% markup, what do you think it is, Randy? What do you think their API costs, like markup wise, are?
I have no idea, but I will say
It's
that
probably like 80%.
they want you coding with
Probably
their
big.
tool and not with Airflow or not Airflow.
Rue.
Not Rue, because Rue might use. They want. I mean, they have a great brand on the best coding AI available. They've got a great tool. Like they want to keep you in their ecosystem, and if they're losing some on the heavy power users of Claude Code, they're gaining it back on all the casual users or people who aren't at your same velocity. And like the market share, they keep taking market share away from OpenAI in the coding space, and it is a land grab. A lot of other AI startups I see. There's a lot of stuff. I shared an article on this earlier this week with you. The impetus right now is on marketing, is on attention gathering, on kind of staking a claim on what your thing does, whether or not it works. This is what we're seeing. Like a lot of people, like for example, the whole OpenAI Johnny Ive device thing, like that. A lot of kind of question marks there, but the whole purpose of it is so that they can go big bang when their device form factor comes out, that they're the form factor that is the Kleenex or the Coke of that category. So I think that there's a lot of really interesting business things happening, but it's all subsidizing, loss, not at a profit. It's more about user acquisition and retention than any kind of profit metric.
So I think that's interesting because you just gave me a almost a different way to think about this. From a marketing perspective, is it better for them to lose money on me and have people that talk to me and that see me post about these things and gain those people in interest with that loss, knowing that I can touch 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 people and gain those customers versus like, what do you think that exponential increase is?
You probably just sold the entire dentist office on OpenAI subscription today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I can almost guarantee you I'll go back and at minimum half of them will have ChatGPT subscriptions.
And there's a supply demand curve, right? There's the whole, if you make a good less expensive, it will have more adoption, right? And right now, if you're maximizing adoption, you go for as inexpensive as you can tolerate because you'll see a greater uptick in subscriptions.
So it's interesting, and this is definitely the place to debate this. So we're going to do it because I was literally thinking about grabbing O3 and put especially O3 Mini and putting it in our app and giving that as access, just letting people grab a drop down in addition to the enable reasoning model, but have an option for O3. It costs a lot from an API call perspective, but man, there's some things it does really, really well, impressively well. And I play around with it a lot, especially on large context. The one thing that has impressed me that I really want to play around with, and it only costs $100 an hour to spend up the compute, is Minimax and the essentially open weighting attention and learning aspect behind that MOE, especially since it's open source now. If no one's ever heard of it, go on Hugging Face, look up Minimax. It's worth your time. I highly do not recommend using their app. It's an absolute screw you so hard on tokens and cost. It's so poorly done. And I get it. They're probably just starting out. After their $24 million fund, in the next 2 months, they'll probably do the same thing Manus did and offer a ton of free stuff. So just hold your breath and you'll probably see that coming. But I have to say, there is a distinct difference in long context accuracy in Minimax than Manus. And it is noticeably good.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I still haven't tried it out yet. It's just the price tag.
How approachable is $100 an hour?
Yeah. No thanks.
I just got I messaged Microsoft and I was like, hey, I need 96 GPU A100s. And they're like,
what?
They're like, what? Well, no, they gave it to us right off the bat, which is cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I asked for 2 more, and they were like, you just got 96. I shit you not. That's the email they sent to me. I was like, can I get 2 more? And they're like, you just got 96. Why do you need 2 more? And I'm like, you just gave me 96 for asking. And we're going to like, now I have to give you an excuse for 2. Okay. But still, like, that
was a weird ask though.
it is kind of funny. But I mean,
funny.
that it is 100, it's a little over 100, but it's like $100 an hour to run that compute. And that will run their large model. So we know what their model costs to run hourly. So how many customers can that service? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Like, good load balancer, I don't know. Like, I'm sure we could hit a good chunk in one compute instance, especially if it's doing it really well. But at the same time, like, man, that, like, from a accessibility standpoint, like 96 core, I think it's half of that would be the actual A100. So whatever, what is that, 48? Am I mathing correctly or remotely close? Sounds reasonable. 48 A100s. That's what you need in order to run that model.
The Minimax?
Yeah, the large one.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. But
wow.
But like, think about that. Like, how many, oh man, I'm going to do the math later. We'll do this later, but I want to find out how many of the NVIDIA things I need in order to run Minimax locally. Oh my God, game on. But like to me, that's when the impact of AI is going to be felt at a scale that we really like. There is no limit. You're not worried about cost. It's running. Your power is the worst case scenario. I may have 5 wind turbines out in the driveway, or need to, because I can't afford my power. But that, like, Randy, having a Jarvis running full time, in your work area while you're working, talking to him, interacting with him, because that's the other thing that's cool about Minimax, James. Multimodal, video, image, text, voice, all of it.
8 A180 gigabyte GPUs. You need 8 are necessary to distribute the model's computational load and memory demands efficiently for Minimax.
I think this is all like the inputs are coming down, but the other thing that we need is back to this dentist office, right? They're not going to do that. So you need the right application layer and the right kind of distribution and, like, societal layer to say that this is something that I want and need and is better than what I currently have, which again will be obvious, especially as it gets less expensive. But when it doesn't cost hundreds of dollars an hour, it costs cents an hour to do that level of thing, then at that point, I think it becomes easier to experiment and to adapt.
I think this is a perfect example, because our infrastructure isn't ready for it. Like, it is definitely a big hot topic this summer, especially as the temperatures are literally roasting people alive, like, rapidly. But like, if that talk about power outages, we had it last summer, right? Some very large banks lost power because the power companies had to make a decision to literally cut out what is called critical infrastructure, a bank, and cut their power with the assumption that they had, backup units. And I feel like we're going to see the same thing this summer. Like, at this heat, and like at a certain point, it's going to hit. And especially with as much AI, I cannot imagine what some of these data centers load is under. Like, I can't even fathom it.
I think that'd be a fun betting market, or like, where do we think the blackouts will start, right? So there's other, like, I have a friend who was talking about real estate investment in some of the areas that are bringing in these data centers, and that there are cities that are becoming very attractive that have, like, proximity to water cooling. They're major cities, but they're not like totally overbuilt, so like space is able to be gotten. So like, there are a bunch of existing kind of centers of data centers as well as like new places. I'm just wondering, like, the electrical infrastructure is probably the weak point in all of this. So like, which one of these cities gets a blackout first from AI? And like, that could be a fun contest in our community. Whoever predicts which city blacks out first, directly attributable to AI, will get a bottle of bourbon
from John's personal collection.
From
What?
John's.
Who said that?
May or may not be correct.
By the way, John, your local mini max is going to cost you between 150 and 200 grand a year.
My local?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Is it running 24/7?
Oh, you mean like if I run it on a cloud server?
On premises. Yeah.
Wait, you mean like if I put it local on my here? Or you mean like I'm paying Microsoft for cloud compute? Which one?
If you put on your local.
If in power?
Yeah, here I'll send over the.
You're saying it's going to cost me $200,000 to run my own local version in power?
I think they're using amortized.
Jesus Christ! I will have to get wind turbines. Like, holy crap!
You have to get a lot of solar panels.
How much power is? That's a lot of power. I thought I had a high power bill. That's a lot of power bill. Jesus,
you're gonna need some more of those commercial lines.
Yeah, for real. Holy crap. That's scary to think about from a power perspective. Like I didn't realize.
Yeah, the annual operating cost includes power, cooling, co-location, and
I bet a lot of heat.
A100. Yeah.
I was talking about using the what is it called, the that NVIDIA thing.
Oh, the NVIDIA thing. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like if we use if you had, how many of those would it take? I feel like probably at least 2 to 4, probably more like 4 of those. But like either way, that is still a lot of power, and that is the topic this summer. It's going to be the bigger topic like in the next 6 weeks of like what are these things impacting? Why are we willing to shut down a bank over AI? Like seriously, when you think about a risk perspective, economy, local economy, global economy, impacts, and a bank is being shut down because of power loss or power availability, and hospitals are on that grid. There's man, that is going to be a heated debate if a data center is still up and running. I'm sure the data center is going to have generators, but like if those things aren't getting cut power first, the other stuff is, man.
Yeah, but I mean, how do you know data center's not running, life critical software?
It's true.
And things like that's a very difficult.
How does the hospital stuff function? Magic, hopes, dreams.
It's all magic. Electrical magic.
VC money. It's VC money.
VC money.
Acquire more hospital beds.
You know what? The healthcare is actually finally getting some interesting attention, especially in the AI space. And I think that there's some really cool emergent VC funded like medical areas. Actually, I'm in a beta, I guess, for one of them that they reached out and they asked if I would evaluate their product. And I'm kind of excited about it because I can use any medical device. It stores all the data locally. We'll see. I actually have time with the CTO next week to talk through this because I was like, prove it. And it essentially like sits an agent and allows you to talk to a lot of your medical data as well as like your medical file. So it's like a vault, supposedly, that you can like store your medical records, which makes perfect sense. I think that you storing your medical record and maybe having a digitized copy on a local device that's vaulted makes logical sense to me. If people actually do it and it's able to be used, sounds amazing.
It sounds similar to the idea that we had discussed like a year ago with a personal health navigator. Well, if you've got that data and you have access to good kind of reference documentation on how to treat people, there's a lot of value that you could have just with an AI that can be your personal health quarterback.
I mean, technically speaking, even just putting O3 on it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like right now, I did it with X-rays. If you can do it with X-rays, like, can you imagine your blood pressure trends over the last, 6 months?
again, like trying to get it into the hands of people who are not you necessarily, but it's still like everybody's got, if Apple could get out of their own way, right? Like a version of Apple Health that has all your records and, is able to give you medical advice and isn't afraid to. There's a lot of really interesting health angles that we probably should give some more time to as well, to kind of go and state of the state in health AI, because I think actually we have some audience members who get a lot of value out of that.
Apple has me in deep dark depression. Like so much opportunity, so much wasted opportunity. I can't believe that given where they're at and the things that they can do with their devices, that they haven't made any foothold at all. Like the only thing that you will find me using my Apple device with AI on is to touch another app or our app, or to ask Siri to cover your ears, Siri, to ask ChatGPT, because like I can't use their AI on their phone. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. And Siri is just as dumb as ever. So I really can't believe it. I cannot believe that it is like we're at where we're at. It's 2025 and I have to go hack my freaking Google and my Siri and put my AI in it, calling an LLM instead of them doing it. Like, why the f does my Google not have any of the AI in it? Why is it still so stupid that it can't even use its own services when we have MCPs coming out everywhere, and Siri can't even, like, it has to go use somebody else's AI? Like, come on.
It's a very interesting question, and I wonder if there's a reason behind that.
There's a lot of reasons. It's a classic innovator's dilemma. I mean, the iPhone, the smallest Apple product, is larger than most corporations, right? The tiniest feature touches more people than you could meet in a lifetime. They have, management that has been successful at growing a $3 trillion plus company over the last 20 years with very little innovation, right? Like that is what Apple is right now. That's, they create a ton of cash, and there's always
they have a lot. They have a lot more. Yeah, they got a lot more farmers than hunters.
And that's, the normal thing for a company like that to do is to do acquisitions, right? Like they won't innovate, but they'll acquire. Like Siri was an acquisition back in the day.
That's true.
I think actually Steve Jobs was still involved.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So, that's the other thing is like somebody like Steve Jobs was like, and this happened to Apple when he left the first time. If you like follow the study, the company itself, they made a super popular product, and then the visionary founder was kicked out, and they kind of stagnated and, kind of didn't do anything interesting until he came back. And it's not to say like Tim Cook and the leadership team there has tremendous capacity to operate the existing vehicle, but there's no one going in and disrupting it, right? And so that I think there's been like rumors, I think, that they might acquire Perplexity, but they'll have to do something really big like that, I think, to get back in the game. And they have the cash to do it. So like I wouldn't totally count them out, but it's just like Google. Like Google has so much cool AI shit, and it's so hard to find it. They also don't do everything that they could be doing to disrupt their product, but they're so massive. Like they have to be mindful of it. But it's also like, it's still early. Like they are putting AI into search. Their Gemini stuff is getting out there and more ubiquitous.
Well, you can't even Google anymore. It's Gemini. Yeah. Like everything that you search is no longer a Google search. It's the AI search, which is I don't know if you saw that. There's a bunch of people suing Google, quite a lot of people, over like all the traffic they lost because now it's AI search enabled and not their Google search.
Tale as old as time, though.
Generative engine optimization now.
Google. I remember every time they changed the algorithm, both my wife, who works in Google advertising, and back in the day, like 20 years ago, my dad had an e-commerce business, and it was like every 6 months they changed the algorithm, and his business would go like this until we figured out the new pattern. And it's just like you live at the mercy of Google when you do that. But but it's still like these companies have massive amounts of cash, so it's not like they can't do something and change their mind. But there's something to be said for like the DNA of someone like a Mark Zuckerberg, for example, is the only person driving Facebook to do like crazy things like bet on VR and AI. If he's not there, it doesn't do it. Even if he is there, I would argue they're not necessarily doing great right now, but he's going to probably set another 10 to 100 billion dollars on fire to try to get there.
Well, when you Google enable on we're the first thing that pops up for like the first few pages.
I know. I saw that the other day. It was pretty cool. Randy, you brought up something interesting. It's like, have you ever heard the whole marriage thing? Like, you can't have. There's two types of people in the world. There's like the calm, organized, and then there's like the chaos, right? And there's no in between. There's just the people. Some people are chaos. Some people are the calming agent. Great marriages have like that combo. I don't know why, but that's what came into my mind when you were talking about companies. Like, there's this chaos that's needed within leadership at a company, and there's this calming, like, balance side, the bureaucratical operation that is created around that chaos in order to keep it in check. Otherwise, it burns itself out. It's kind of an interesting side when you think about like where, like, if you look at Microsoft and some of the stuff that they've done, and they're extremely risk adverse and have been for a long time, and even now they're in the bickering between OpenAI, and there's a whole bunch of debate, but like, look at the amount of stuff that they have gotten done, and even just if we just look at their own models and their model creation and like how far they've come with that, it's incredible to think about where they were 2 years ago. Because like, I hated Microsoft maybe 3 years ago, couldn't stand them, hated, and a lot of my view was corporate, very corporate focused and how it operates. But it's also because corporate has bastardized what Microsoft has created to such an extent that everyone hates cloud computing.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, look, you've got Satya there, right? Like, he is like, there's like a lot of like academic pushback against this like great man theory of history that like, there's people don't actually, there's committees and social pressure, but like, no, you have a Napoleon, you have Napoleonic history there, you have a Satya Nadella, you have a Steve Jobs. Like, the world is massively different because these individuals are where they were. So like, you look at him and he was like basically the founder of Azure, if you think of it like that, before he became the CEO, right? You go from Ballmer time where they're just milking it, kind of like what Apple does, and they had the antitrust stuff that they couldn't do, and then you have him come in and basically say, we're going to change our attitude. We're going to be all about development. We're going to be all about, capturing, market share. And they weren't first, but they very quickly realized that they could do things that AWS couldn't, and built a massive business there. And then he's taken that whole attitude towards AI. Did you guys see the essay last year from Paul Graham called Founder Mode? People are always like kind of referencing it in the socials I follow. When somebody does something crazy, they're like, "Oh, I'm in founder mode." But it's basically the blinder on chaos monkey version of like going to do whatever it takes to get to the objective of a startup. Makes for terrible corporate enterprise policy, but makes for like the kind of personality that a Jobs or a Zuckerberg or a Nadella is. Like that kind of approach. I think a lot of, we talk about all this market grab and all the things that Uber's, that's Uber in the first 5-10 years of their existence, not necessarily who they are right now, right? But like all these companies, when they come out swinging, that is the way they're operating.
Founder mode.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's also funny because if you do something stupid, you just be like, "Oh, founder mode." I pushed a build that broke prom. Founder mode.
Why did you delete the whole repository? Founder mode.
Hold my beer.
Don't worry, I'll recode the whole thing tonight.
Founder mode.
All right. Well, what do we think? All right. What do we think is going? Let's make some predictions.
Ooh.
We haven't done predictions in a while, so I think let's go around the room real quick, wrap up on predictions. So let's channel that inner futuristic aura. And actually, before I do, and because this is actually what gave me this thought. So cool moment, and they finally did it. You can change what model you use in the GPT store on the GPTs. Oh, Randy's face.
Still there.
Huh?
The GPT store is still there. How about that?
It is. Well, I went to the handy dandy risk version, one that I use that I love to play around with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to use uncertainty. I'm going to play around and try to do some prediction stuff. And I noticed at the top, you can now, and I can put O3 Pro on uncertainty. And you want to talk about kicking? This is fun. So a lot of our GPTs just got supercharged, which is super fun. But that was what gave me the idea. So yeah, predictions. Who wants to kick off?
Any specific topic or like domain of prediction?
No, I think we can go wide open. We usually stick with AI, but for this one, I think who cares? Let's have some fun.
Founder mode.
Founder mode. I would say let's cage it within a 2 to 5 year span, so nothing more than 5 years. I don't think it needs to be tech or AI oriented. And I personally am definitely very focused on privacy and what governance and AI regulations, especially since we have a 10-year ban on stateside AI regulations, which I find hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there will be a way around that somehow. Whether it'll be like municipal or there'll be a court will overturn it. I don't see us giving up the opportunity to regulate AI lightly.
I mean, there's going to be an event that will necessitate itself. I think the 10 years is way aggressive, but I think it's the same thing you guys said the other time we were talking about regulations and banking and like, why does it take so long? Like AI is going to be the thing. Here we go. Put the timer on it. When it happens, and it will happen, then we'll talk about
Apple buys Perplexity. Let's throw that out there.
All right, let's do it. What do you got? What's the timeline?
Sometime before the end of this year.
Ooh. I'll double down on that. I would agree. If they don't do it this year, there'd be no point by next year. They can't, Perplexity will be worth too much. So it is a this year thing. I agree. James, what do you got?
I don't know if I've got an idea within the next 5 years, but I think the like a longer term prediction is like we're gonna have to solve an energy challenge. So I wouldn't be surprised if I think there's some early adoption of solar, but seeing mass adoption of like solar tech and electric cars and I just think that, especially just coming back from China, right, and seeing all of the electric cars that they have there,
that's insane.
Like it's just, I wouldn't be surprised if we see huge adoption rates just out of necessity because of we were just talking about it today with all the power, and there's environmental factors like heat and things like that. So I guess my prediction is a hope, like a shift away from traditional energy sources to more solar.
I'm going to double down on your prediction. I'm going to say in the next 5 years, fossil fuels are caught pushing the boundaries on politics and doing illegal things to such an extent that it is formally brought to court, and all of the obfuscation for solar and electric vehicles are brought into the limelight.
So you're predicting a lawsuit within the next 5 years?
Like federal prosecution, like federal, like FBI investigation and prosecution of executives within major fossil fuel corporations. Not that that's ever happened before.
In maybe 3 years, maybe not before that. But
what'd you say?
Say in 3 years, maybe not.
I said before 5.
I also
they're not desperate enough yet.
Yeah,
but they will be. They will be. Because China's the best example. I think like James hit the nail on the head. Like they have electric vehicles that we have put import taxes on, like ridiculous import taxes on, because they're building vehicles for like $9,000 that compete with $30,000 cars here.
They're really good. They're really, really good. Like I would say they're better. Like a lot of their cars are
the interiors
phenomenal.
Are gorgeous.
Yeah, interiors are phenomenal. Very comfortable. Very spacious, and it's got all the tech that you'd want.
From whiskey pours to AI wars, thanks for tuning in. Stay curious, stay questioning, and we'll catch you in the next episode.